Hello all and welcome to All Red. It is finally time. The 2024-2025 Premier League season is here and the Arne Slot era will officially begin with Liverpool visiting Ipswich Town. And of course, we've got the one and only Aaron back from London, a London Red. Aaron, welcome back.
Sam, thank you very much. Great to be here, mate. Great to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. And I think we're going to have a lively discussion. Now, here's how this is going to work. We are going to put together our estimated starting 11 for Liverpool versus Ipswich Town. But Aaron, you and I, we have to agree. We have to agree on each position. If we don't, we cannot end this video. So we're going to have a little banter, a little back and forth banter if we have some disagreements on who will start in the first Arne Slot match. So without further ado, let's jump in. By the way, first, before we get there, I have to call out, we have a new member on the show. Our third member ever, Herbert Walker Wright. Herbert Walker Wright, thank you so much for being a member. It's amazing. Absolutely incredible. Okay, we got to get into the starting 11. Let's start from the back, Aaron. And that's going to be at the bottom of our screen. I'm assuming that Alisson Becker, the one and only, is going to start this match. Do you feel the same way?
I do. This is one of the easier decisions, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't see a lot of him in the preseason, but I think the position is obviously his. And he was part of that beautiful goal that we saw at the weekend for the tap-in for Luis Diaz. And I think his passing, and we've seen Caoimhin Kelleher do some amazing passes as well, but Alisson's ability to disperse the ball from the back, I think, is going to be pretty incredible to watch this season, because we've seen in preseason the slot ball is a lot of that. It's building from the back, sucking the defense in, and then getting out and getting on a lot of fast breaks, which will be very interesting. But we'll get to that later. All right, back line. I think we're going to see probably a back four, and of course we're going to put the Captain Verge in there. I would assume that guaranteed. Now we have a decision to make here alongside of Van Dijk. Who do you think starts alongside of him? Is it Konate? Is it Kwanzaa? Is it Sepp Vandenberg?
For me, I believe it's Kwanzaa.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope so.
I think he's been favoured actually by Slot as well, and he's a very calm character. And he shows actually, quite a lot of pace. He maybe looks a little bit gangly when he's running, but actually he covers the ground quite quickly. I know he made a mistake at the weekend. He made that one mistake where he miscontrolled and it got away from him. But he is very rarely makes mistakes, as where Konate, on the other hand, can get his pocket picked and is a bit clumsy at times on the ball. As good as he is.
Yeah, he's good. He's got incredible pace, but I feel a little bit more stress when Konate is in there. He's a little bit more of a loose cannon. You don't quite know what's going to happen. Is he going to make a fantastic tackle, or is he going to get carded? You just never know. But I feel good about Kwanzaa and Van Dijk. And it is incredible to have a guy like Konate who potentially can't get into that starting 11. That I think that is favorable for us moving forward. Obviously, I think most Liverpool fans would say, hey, we need to figure out, and sign another center back, probably a Van Dijk replacement. He's getting up there in age. We'll see about that. But for now, I think we've got some great options here. Let's move to left back. I would assume it's Robbo. Do you disagree?
I do disagree, only because Robbo's played 60 minutes. I have a feeling that Kostas hasn't really put too much of a foot wrong in the games that he's played, and I think he's actually represented himself quite well, and he looks quite hungry to play football this season. I think Robbo, maybe Ipswich is just a little bit too soon for him. As much as I want Robbo in there, I would want Robbo in there all day, every day. But I just think Kostas has played a few more games, and his match fitness is maybe slightly higher than Robbo's right now.
Okay, so for you, it's a cautionary move to not put Robbo straight away in, and it's Tsimikas who gets the nod against Ipswich Town. I'm going to agree with you, Aaron. You've convinced me. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have to try to spell Tsimikas, which I think I did. And let's
That is correct.
to the left back position. Yeah, I think so. And I think, why risk putting your starting left back in Andy Robertson in a position to potentially re-aggravate or get injured or just, not be fully fit. It's Ipswich Town. They're a Premier League team. They're a Premier League side, but let's be honest, they're not an Arsenal or a City. So I like that. That's good. Okay. Now we have another dilemma here. Right back. This is tough. This is really tough. I think Connor Bradley had a really good preseason. I think he picked up where he left off last year. Actually he looked refreshed. He looked even better than he did at the end of last season. We all know that he had that incredible spell. Kind of peaked against Chelsea there, but he was fantastic this preseason, and just some intangibles where you're like, man, this kid is good. What do we do here? Is it a Connor Bradley start? Is it Trent? We didn't get to see a lot of Trent in the preseason, of course. What we did see from him, I thought was good. He had that assist to Jota. What do we do here, Aaron?
He was beaten a number of times at right back. My head and my heart tell me two different things here. My head tells me it's going to be Trent. Yeah. Just because it's Trent Alexander-Arnold, and his ability to create, I think is higher than Bradley's. Even though he's a really clever footballer as well, and I actually think Bradley, in terms of his up and down on that right wing, is probably better than Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I actually think defensively he's a little bit better as well. But my head tells me it's going to be Trent, purely based on the fact that it's Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he has the ability to let that right foot work, whip the balls into the box, and he just creates so much more. I'm stuck on this one, but I think he's going to go Trent.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so much you can do with Trent throughout the game, and I kind of stand by what I've said all along. And this is nothing completely new. I think Klopp was doing this last season, where you start Trent Alexander-Arnold, and maybe at the 60, 70-minute mark, you move him further forward. You bring Connor Bradley in, especially if we've got a lead, or especially if we need to get a late goal. Because Connor Bradley, he needs to see the field. And we saw some late game magic from Trent Alexander-Arnold last season when he was able to do that. Obviously, he scored that goal against City. So I'm curious. I think we're all curious to see how Arne Slot utilizes Trent Alexander-Arnold throughout this season, maybe getting really creative with where you put him. So I'll agree with you there. I think it would be, I don't think Arne Slot cares about like optics or how the feelings. I think he's a really good man manager, but the optics of not starting Trent Alexander-Arnold when he is still working out a contract situation, it would just warrant some unwanted press, I think. So, but Trent's a very good player, and I would be excited to see him start there. All right, let's get into the double pivot. Obviously, this will not be Zubimendi, not to throw salt on the wound there. But I still feel like we have some very, very talented midfielders here. I'm gonna venture to say that McAllister's a shoe-in here. Would you disagree? Guaranteed.
No. He's possibly our most important player. That's my opinion. His work ethic.
Absolutely. I think that was true last season too. He was consistent last season. At times, he was our best player. And he's so good. He's just incredible signing, considering what, 30 million pounds.
35 million is.
I mean, that someone should go to jail for that.
For an 80 million pound player. That's my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, if the price tags were swapped for him and Soboslai, it would have been probably a little bit
Yeah,
more
yeah,
accurate.
agree.
Even though Soboslai's, I think he's worth it. But all right, who comes in alongside McAllister? This is maybe the toughest position to fill on the team sheet, Aaron. We've got Bajcetic, we've got Jones, we've got Soboslai, we've got Gravenberch. What do you think?
I think I know the answer on this,
All right.
and this is where I, my heart would love Trent to play alongside McAllister, and
Interesting.
For Bradley to play right back. I think
Really?
if you miss out on Zubamendi, Trent has a lot of them qualities. He can take the ball off the defence and he can start the build up of play. His football IQ is immense, and I just think with Trent alongside McAllister, that would be, for me, that would almost be worth Zubamendi not being there. But I
Hmm.
don't think Slot will see it like that. I think he'll see Trent as a right back that can potentially tuck in alongside who I feel it will be, which is Gravenberch. Yeah,
Yeah.
potentially tuck in
So,
alongside Gravenberch there.
we saw against Sevilla. We saw him do that, right? Come
Mm-hmm.
in from the right back position to really kind of form that double pivot in the
Mm-hmm.
midfield, which could allow either Gravenberch or McAllister to get forward more when we have possession.
Yeah.
Which is, that to me is going to be, I think, a theme this season we see from Arne Slot's formations is like you're going to start the game one way, and 10 minutes in, you're going to be in a completely different formation,
Mm.
which is going to be really difficult for other teams to plan around. And that's one reason why I think Liverpool are going to start the season really strong. And because I just feel like a lot of these teams don't know what's coming at them. So you would say Gravenberch here.
Yeah, I think he played really well against
Yeah.
Sevilla. For me, I thought he was man of the match against
Mm,
Sevilla. Maybe alongside McAllister, who I also thought was excellent in that game. I know the attackers did a great job. Jota's goal
yeah.
was amazing, but actually, I
Yeah.
thought Jota was quite poor
Yeah.
in terms of being on the ball. I thought he actually lost the ball quite a lot, but his goal was just
Yeah.
glorious.
Sublime.
But
Yeah. He
McAllister
and
and
he.
Gravenberch for me, they were the stars of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, and we saw that from Jota. Was it against Arsenal or another game where he just looked really poor? Um, he'll figure it out. We gotta keep him healthy though.
What a great sign! You can play as bad as Jota has done on many occasions and just pop up with a goal or two.
I know.
What a great quality!
Oh man, he is a great
Amazing,
player.
amazing player.
He's an X factor. We'll talk about him in a minute, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, McAllister Gravenberch. So he gets the nod. I agree with that. I think that would be a good sign if Slot puts him in to start at that kind of number 6, that double pivot. By the
Mm-hmm.
way, I talked about this I think yesterday or 2 days ago. Gravenberch back at Ajax, which was really why Bayern
Baller.
Munich wanted him. He was a baller and he was in that double pivot. What Bayern tried to do with him was say, all right, now you're a sole number 6. We're going to
Mm.
put you in that sole number 6 position. It didn't work for him. So I'm curious, can Gravenberch come in this double pivot, kind of reclaim some of that magic back from Ajax, and maybe become that everyday guy alongside of McAllister? That gets me excited, man, because is Gravenberch a world-class defensive destroyer type player? No. Does he fit Arne Slot's profile for a midfielder in that double pivot? That very important, box right here where you've got these two guys and Van Dijk and Kwanzaa. They're going to get the majority of the touches on the ball before we launch attacks. I think he fits it really, really well. And I
Mm-hmm.
think he's got a lot of qualities that will just make him thrive in that position. So I'm really excited to see that. I hope we get to see that. I don't know who else would fit in there. Bajcetic, maybe. It's probably not ready. I feel like he's got a long road ahead of him to kind of get back up to speed and fitness. I do like him a lot. I like Bajcetic. I think he's got a lot of really good promise, but I'd love to see Gravenberch here. I really would. Okay, so far we've got 7 guys on the pitch, which means we have 4 more. That's how that works. That's math right there. Let's what do we think here? Should we move into that number 10 role? The number 10 position, number 10 or number 8, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think it's a 10, isn't it? It's that person that sits behind the striker, yeah, that number 9.
Yeah, I don't know that we need a number 8 per se. Of that box to box midfielder, I'm not sure that's probably more of a McAllister in this system. Who starts here, Aaron? Is it Szoboszlai? Is it Elliott? Is it Jones? Is it Jota?
I think he sees Szoboszlai there.
I think he does too.
I disagreed with you on one of the other videos.
Yeah, you did.
Because what Elliott offers, Szoboszlai doesn't. Yeah. Elliott is very cute. He has them little dinks, them little balls, them little them flicks. Szoboszlai's an engine, and I think Szoboszlai will actually give you legs over Elliott, and I think he wants legs.
Yep. I think so too. I think Szoboszlai is, I mean, he's a train. He's got power. He's got loads of pace. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, Szoboszlai is not fast enough. And it's like, what? His
assist was amazing.
Yeah. He's recorded the 5th fastest ever sprint time in the Premier League.
I've seen it, yeah. I've seen it.
He is, you think about the highlights you've seen from the preseason, the slot ball, where at a moment's notice, you've got a player literally on a 1v1 breakaway with the keeper. That's Szoboszlai. Elliott couldn't do that as well.
I don't think
he
gets away, does he? He doesn't get away from the defender, Elliott, I don't think.
I don't think so. Szoboszlai's that guy. And obviously our attackers probably are in that position more. But you think about the types of runs. So you've got your front 3. We'll talk about who that might be here in a second. But you've got your front 3. Probably, if they're trying to man mark those guys, and then you've got this deep run from Szoboszlai, who's going to be able to keep up with that as he breaks through, and you've got those through balls coming through. I feel like Szoboszlai is going to be a really important piece. That said, Elliott is class.
What a great player to bring on at 60 minutes, though. Yeah, what a great player.
Absolutely. I think we have a whole bucket full of those types of players who could come in and with fresh legs, have that starting caliber talent coming in at the 60, 70th minute mark. So, all right, we're settled on that. Let's get into our attacking 3. I think clearly Salah is in here at the right wing. I had question marks this preseason on okay, what's Slot going to do? Is he going to put Salah in the middle? Clearly Salah is still our starting right winger. He's started there and played there all preseason long. He's looking very aerodynamic without the hair, which maybe gives him just a little bit more speed. But he looked really good in the preseason, and we got to see kind of the model there on the wings. Slot wants his wingers to take on defenders 1v1. We saw that with Salah. We saw that with Diaz and even with Carvalho. But I think Salah starts on the right wing. Aaron, do you disagree?
It's a shoe-in, isn't it? I think probably Salah, he's pretty much the only right wing, apart from Ben Doak at the club. Salah over Ben Doak all day long. I think Salah has 20 plus goal contributions. My concern is that Doak doesn't really offer too many goal contributions, as good as he is. Right. So Salah's a shoe-in. I think Salah, if he stays fit, he plays every game of the season.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think he can do that. He's a machine.
He is very resilient in terms of injuries. He very rarely gets injured. Actually, he had a terrible season last year with both the AFCON and injuries. He had a reoccurrence, didn't he, as well? So if he has a fit season, I can see him hitting 20 goals plus.
Absolutely. In this system, absolutely. All right. Before we get to striker, let's figure out who fits in on the left side. I think it's either Diaz or Gakpo. Who do you think impressed Slot the most this preseason? Who
Diaz.
gets the nod?
I
Yeah,
actually thought Gakpo was poor when he come on.
Yeah, we got to see him versus in the closed door match, right, against Las Palmas. And clearly was not at the Diaz level, at least not right now. Both of these players played exceptionally well in the summer tournaments. Diaz for Colombia and Gakpo for the Dutch national side, of course. Both were very, very good, but you can see I'm not going to say Gakpo's not good enough. Sorry, I think he still could be and still is. Diaz is ready to cook, though, and he is ready to do that in this system. We saw that against Sevilla. 2 excellent goals. 1 was a tap-in, but that's the type of player Diaz is. He gets himself in the right positions. If you think about the goals he scored last season, and really in his entire Liverpool career, I just saw the first goal the other day. It was a flashback. First goal he ever scored for Liverpool. He gets into these ultra tight positions in the right spots to score really what a lot of times are like, wow, that probably shouldn't have gone in. That was a very good strike. So Diaz, I think if he has reclaimed his form from the pre-injury that he had 2 years ago, watch out, because this player, he is going to be ready to cook in Slot's attack.
I'd like to see Diaz continue to be direct. He is scary when he's direct.
Yeah,
I think sometimes his shooting's a bit wayward, but his first goal was excellent. Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to see him do that constantly. That little dink and that cut in and put it in the top corner. I think he's capable of doing that regularly.
That was really encouraging to me, because a lot of times we've seen indecision from Diaz. He overthinks it. He tries to do too much. When he cut that ball to the right, and it was almost like the defender was like, "Yeah, you're not going to shoot that. I know your game. I'm familiar with your game," but he cuts it to the right and just rips it.
Stunning.
If we can see that, if that's his thing now, if Slot has kind of fine-tuned that in him in the short amount of time they've had together, that is fantastic. Almost like even if defenders know that's what he wants to do, it's still very difficult to defend Diaz because you can't get the ball off of him. So I think we're in for a real treat if that is Diaz's new MO. And I'd be very excited to see that.
A real good thing here, Sam. Yeah, is it was Mane-esque.
Yeah.
It was very, very Sadio Mane. The way he just dinked that in, bang, top corner, just reminded me of Sadio Mane, and that's what we wanted from Diaz.
Yeah, that's what we need.
That is what we need regularly.
You've got to have at least one player who the defense fears more than anything else. And Mane was that guy. Obviously, Salah was alongside of him as well. Salah still has that, he's maybe lost just a bit of pace to where the defenders are not ultra concerned about getting beat 1v1, at least not on a full sprint. But Diaz is still that guy. If Diaz gets past you, you're not catching him. And that was Mane, obviously. Diaz can be that guy, and I'm hopeful that he's figured that out and reclaimed that from what we saw when he first came to Liverpool. We've got a decision here, Aaron. Who starts at striker? I don't think this is a big controversy.
It's an easy decision.
I think it's an easy decision.
Yeah.
You could go Gakpo on this. You could go Nunez. You could go Jota. I'd love to hear who you would pick, Aaron.
Right, normally I would pick Nunez. Yeah. Nunez is not ready. You could see that against Las Palmas. I thought he was actually very poor against Las Palmas as well. And you can understand Jota has had maybe 3 average games, but he just shows you what he can do. And the fact of the matter is that Jota is fit. He's gaining match fitness, and his finishing is immense.
Yeah.
I just believe that once he gets 4 or 5 games under his belt, this guy becomes a steam engine. Yeah, and he starts putting a goal in it every game.
Oh, I think it's easy for him to score a goal per game, if not more. The big question mark with Jota is fitness. Can he stay
Well, that's it,
healthy?
isn't it? That is it.
Now, we know Slot's track record with players. We know he's very concerned with player fitness. I'm wondering if he can figure it out with Jota, if he can figure out how to keep him healthy for an entire season. And I've said this before, if Diogo Jota were to stay completely fit for an entire season, I think Liverpool wins silverware because of the type of player he is. What did we miss last season so often? Clinical finishing. We had games where we were putting 35 shots up in a game, in a single game.
Man United, 38 shots against Manchester United.
We couldn't score.
Drew 0-0.
Those were times where we immensely missed Diogo Jota. I would love to see him over the course of the season. I'd love to see him start every game and stay healthy. I don't know if that's realistic. I'd love to see him, maybe be used a little bit more sparingly if Nunez or Gakpo are able to figure out that striker position. And again, if he's able to be that, the guy that comes in every 60th minute to score a goal,
isn't it? Scary.
I mean, it's incredible. So, putting him, Elliott, Connor Bradley in, halfway through the second half is just like, wow.
Imagine what Ipswich feel on Saturday. Yeah. When Jota comes off after 60 minutes and then they put the nightmare on. They put Nunez on at 60 minutes to just run them ragged.
Yeah,
which you will do.
It's not fair, It's not fair.
It's not fair, yeah.
Either one of those guys. Yeah, you're right. Either one of those guys, Jota or Nunez, could be the guy that comes on and just completely, it turns the game on the head because they're very different players. We already know Slot is impressed with Jota's intelligence, his ability to read the game, to be that conduit for Diaz and Salah and even Szoboszlai. Jota as well, and I think Nunez is pretty good at this. Very good aerially, very good in the air.
Yeah. So is Diaz.
I know Diaz as well.
Look at his goals for Colombia. He scores a lot of headers.
But to be the guy that's able to receive, that long ball out from Alisson or Trent, to get it down to that Szoboszlai or McAllister or even Gravenberch, and then spring that attack. Jota does that really well. I think Nunez can do that as well. Nunez is really good at that. But yeah, a wealth of options here. All right, now that we've seen the starting 11 here, Aaron, what's your score prediction for the first Arne Slot match?
3-1 Liverpool.
3-1.
I think we'll concede. Just because Liverpool concede at the moment. We under Klopp, we gave away a lot of chances.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it with Slot. I know we had that Manchester United game. We gave a lot of chances away to Manchester United in the first half. But once we got a grip of the game, those chances weren't as frequent. Alisson, listen, I just think it's the first game of the season. I think potentially we concede one and we'll get stronger from there. But I just see us scoring goals.
Yeah, I do too.
Mainly Jota. I think that volley for Jota, that's just gonna set him alight.
It's gonna be so fun. I'm gonna say 2-0. I'm gonna say 2-0. I actually think we might find it a little bit difficult away from home to score against probably a scrappy Ipswich town. And I don't know that they will be able to break through a Virgil van Dijk led defense. Obviously, I would not be surprised if Liverpool concede. That's what we've been doing for a while now. But I agree with you. I don't think we're going to have those same issues this year in not being able to score. I think Arne Slot has shown that his system can just produce goals. We saw several goals this season that were easy goals, quote unquote, easy goals, where we're not having to hit, 35-yard wonder strikes to win games. So I am so incredibly excited to see this Liverpool side in action and to see what Arne Slot has done with Liverpool FC.
Yeah, of course.